Hello students, a very good morning to YUIS News Analysis. Welcome to News Analysis on July 7th, 2026. Now let's get into the first article for today's class. So the first article here, it is mentioning about the future of the Quad. So here the article is talking about a grouping called as Quad. Now coming to this article, before navigating into this particular article, we need to have some basic knowledge on the Quad. Now, Quad refers to a grouping of 4 countries, especially India, USA, Japan, and Australia. So, these 4 countries form as the major countries under the grouping of Quad. And we need to know about the origin of the Quad before navigating into this particular Quad. Now, the origin of the Quad holds its significance from the year 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, where these 4 countries joined together in order to cooperate against the disaster, like in order to provide assistance to the disaster affected countries. Now, this has been advanced in the year 2007, which is being called as the Quad 1.0, where Japanese Prime Minister first initiated the advanced step that needs to be taken. But the main issue is that China over dominance. So, China's over dominance has not made this step possible. Now, in the next phase, especially in the year 2017, which has been mentioned as Quad 2.0, in this particular year, because of the Chinese aggressive policy and also military invasions, this step has been made forward. So this is how the history of the Quad you need to have, and after knowing about the origin, you need to be aware of the objectives of the Quad. So, what are the main objectives of the Quad? You need to have a basic knowledge. First and foremost, the major objectives of the Quad include free and open Indo-Pacific region. So, free and open Indo-Pacific, and also joint cooperation with respect to defense management, like conduction of drills, like exercises like Malabar exercise. And also the one more main aim, but this is the indirect aim that has been an objective of the Quad, is that in order to stand against the Chinese dominance, China's dominance in this particular region. So this is how you need to understand about while navigating into this particular article regarding what countries are part of the Quad and the origin of the Quad and also the objectives of the Quad. Now, if we go into this particular article, so this particular article is mentioning about reduction in the significance of the Quad, where it is mentioning about how the significance of the Quad has been reducing in the present ages. Why? Because recently in the yesterday's article, we have talked about some of the steps that USA has been taking, which is causing a major harmful in the international relations with respect to India. Now, let's see what has been mentioned in this particular article. So, this particular article is highlighting about the reduction of or reducing significance of the Quad. The first and foremost thing is that US is focusing more on G2, where this is a grouping of USA along with the China. So increase of focus on this particular group and also changing the name of the command. Changing the name of the command. So here example has been given where US has renamed Indo-Pacific Command back to as US Pacific Command. So Indo-Pacific Command has been renamed back to what? US Pacific Command. So this is one more concerning step with respect to India. And also one more thing is that US is prioritizing Western Hemisphere more when compared to Indo-Pacific. When compared to Indo-Pacific, US is supporting Western Hemisphere when compared to Indo-Pacific region. These are the three issues that has been highlighted here, which is mentioning about the examples to show that Quad has been reducing its significance in the present era. Now, the thing is that there are four main criticisms that has been mentioned in this regard with respect to decrease in significance of the Quad in the present era. So the first and foremost significance is that it entails, see, so here with respect to increase in the China's military capacity, Quad beforehand it directly handles the relationship with respect to against having developing against relations with respect to China. But here what happens is that the hesitation of the Quad members in order to use the name of country called China. In order to use the name of China directly, where the hesitation has been shown by the Quad member countries is the first criticism, where the member countries itself, they are not able to fight against the China by taking the name as China. And the second criticism, what has been mentioned is that the reluctance of the Quad member countries in order to conduct 2+2 defense meeting. Now, you need to understand what is this 2+2 meeting. 2+2 meeting refers to a formal meeting between the external ministry and also defense ministry of both the countries. So, this particular meeting is termed as 2+2 meeting. Here, the important thing is that all the countries in the Quad have 2+2 meetings independently with each other. But whereas this 2+2 meeting conductance with respect to Quad as collective action is not being taken the next step as forward step. So this is what being given in this perspective. So this is the first criticism and also this is the second criticism. Now, the third issue that has been mentioned is that China is having more military presence with respect to hard military presence or hard power, whereas this Quad is focusing more with respect to soft power or soft issues when compared to the hard power. So this is the one of the major issue that has been mentioned in this particular article. And with respect to other criticism, we can add the example of other groupings like AUKUS groups, where it is the combination of Australia, United Kingdom and the US, where the focus of the this AUKUS group, especially the focus of this AUKUS group is to have direct military attack on any country that has threatened the interests of this particular AUKUS group members, whereas Quad do not have such measures. This is one of the major drawback or criticism that has been quoted here. And one more issue that has been mentioned here is that there is a lack of security heavy capital. there is lack of security heavy capital, in the sense that the capital regarding the strengthening the security. So those particular capital is being lacking or less investing in that particular field is being given here. So these are the points in the article that is mentioning that the significance of Quad has been reducing in the present era. So this is how you need to understand about the article. So particularly the members. Now we have seen about the members, origin, objectives, and also the issues that has been highlighted over here. Now let's see the article from the prelims and the mains point of view. Now with respect to prelims point of view, what you need to understand from this particular or takeaways from this particular article is that prelims and the mains point of view. Let's have a look. In the prelims point of view, you need to understand about the groupings called Quad. What are the member countries? What are the member countries and what are the list of exercises that has been done by the Quad? And along with that, India is having separate exercises with USA and also Australia and also Japan. So you need to have the basic exercises with respect to military, army and the naval forces. This is one more perspective what you need to do for prelims. And along with that, you need to understand what does 2+2 meeting refers to and which ministry. Ministry of Foreign or External Affairs Ministry along with the Defense Ministry. And here in by which countries. So with which countries India has already held the 2+2 defense meeting. So these are the things which are important for the prelims point of view. And along with that, you need to have basic knowledge with respect to mapping in the geography regarding the Indo-Pacific. This is what you need to understand from this particular article in the prelims point of view. And in the mains point of view, you need to understand about the objectives of the Quad and the changing objectives in the present scenario. This is the objectives of the Quad in the year 2017 when it was properly originated. But now, what are the changing objectives of the Quad? And reduction of significance of Quad and the impact that it plays on the India as a country. You need to understand. And what are the way forward, like how India should approach regarding the significance of this particular Quad. Now, and let's come into solutions with regarding to reduction of the groupings like Quad. What India must do is that India must prioritize the relationships or the bilateral relationships with other countries, let's say recently with the Japan. So here we can get a term called minilaterals. So instead of being a part of the grouping which consists of many countries, India must prioritize forming grouping with the small number of countries in the name called as the minilaterals. So this is the term which you need to be very, very, very important. So this is what you need to understand from the prelims and the mains point of view from this particular article. Now let's move on to next article. So the next article here, it is mentioning about the voice of AI. Means how AI is being penetrated differently with respect to global north and also global south. With respect to basics of this particular article, we have been having discussion on the artificial intelligence, where we have understood about many aspects of the artificial intelligence, like we have read about these applications and also emotional AI, ethical AI, and we have seen about data sovereignty and also how to reduce the use of AI in providing justice. So all these topics we have seen like from the past 1 week and so. Now, in this article, the main thing what it is being mentioning is that how the development of AI is being taken place with respect to global north and the global south. So here, the main thing is that you need to have basic history, like Global AI Summit has been happened in the year 2026 in India. It was happened in India. Now, the main thing what it makes difference with the previous summits which were happened in the Seoul and along with these Paris. So, Bletchley Park, Seoul and Paris 2025. Now, in the previous summits which has been taken care, they prioritized both catastrophic and existential risks over the questions of harms, equity and the inclusion. So, they focused in the previous summits, they focused more on the risks that are being posed by AI than the risks that are not highlighted here is that how equity and inclusion with respect to AI is important. So, this has been not highlighted, where they highlighted only existential risks. Now, in 2026 summit that has been happened in India, India has taken some of the innovative steps where focus, it talked about the importance of inclusion and also equity with respect to development of the AI. Now here in this summit, what happened is that, let's see what are the main things or the main things what have been discussed in this particular article is that in this summit, so in the 2026 summit, India has projected itself is the middle power. So it projected itself in the category of the middle power, where it projected itself as a country having low amount of the capital with respect to developing country, whereas it has the aims and objectives in order to compete with the developing nations like Japan, USA, like advanced countries, but it is being projected as the middle power. So this is one of the concerning fact which has been mentioned in this particular article. And one more thing is that if India has been projecting like this, the world, especially the global south, merely they act as the recipients or consumers of the high-end technology that has been given by the US. So they act as mere consumers of the technologies and also mere using as the data labeling centers instead of having high technology innovations. So these are the three concerns which has been mentioned in this particular article. Why? Because with respect to India and the global south especially, the main issue what has been highlighted is that innovation is being very low and it is not at par level compared to the global north. So this is being made because of the low capital investments with respect to technology sector. This is what being identified in this particular article. And what are the dangers especially that are prone to India, where itself it has projected as the middle power, but it has the ambitions in order to compete with the developing countries. So this is the issue that has been highlighted in this particular article. Now, let's see from the prelims and the mains point of view. So, in the prelims point of view, what you need to do is that you need to remember the summits and the place where it has been done. So here it has mentioned about the summits which has taken in Bletchley Park in 2023, and in 2024 it was happened in the Seoul, and in 2025 it was happened in the Paris, and 2026 India. Now in the prelims point of view, you need to remember at least last 3 years summits where they has been happened, and what is the main objective of that particular summit. You need to remember this from the prelims point of view. And now in the mains point of view, what you need to highlight is that you need to mention about the issues that has been mentioned here regarding the global north versus global south, and how we need to project India in this regard. How we need to project India in this regard. So this is what you need to understand from the prelims and the mains point of view. Now, you also need to discuss solutions or way forward where India need high capital investment and it needs its youth to be technologically sound with respect to development of AI, and conducting frequent drills and the campaigns and the sessions on the usage of AI. This is what you need to write from this particular article in prelims and the mains point of view. Now here, the word that has been mentioned is that pro-innovation regulatory approach. Means innovation is being happening, that is good, but the thing is that along with the innovation there are some other harms also. So we need to focus upon not only innovation but pro-innovation regulations must be happened in order to reduce the risks with respect to that particular innovation. So this is what you need to be learned from this article in the prelims and the mains point of view. Now let's get into next article. So the next article here, it is mentioning about the city called Mumbai and the risks that is being faced by it with respect to urbanization. Means urbanization challenges that has been present with respect to changes in the weather patterns. So how changes in the weather patterns, or especially in the long run, how climate change is being impacting on the developing cities like Mumbai. So here, the main issue that has been mentioned here is that about the issue of drainage, where in case of extensive rainfall or floods, now what happens is that proper outflow of the water is one of the major issue, where in a city which is like majorly having major livelihood opportunities and which consists of the places where decrease in number of wetlands, outflows and damage to drainage systems is the issue being highlighted most with respect to this particular article. Now here, with respect to this, they are also highlighting one more important point with respect to location of the particular city. So here they have given importance of Mumbai, where it lies on a peninsula. Like after managing the 2005 floods, how it has been changed the management. The thing is that what we need to understand is that urbanization, since urbanization is need of the hour for any country, especially developing country like India, it is not free of challenges. It is consisting of many challenges. But the thing is, how we can maintain those particular challenges is the main thing what has been present here. Now here, one more thing is that it has mentioned about this Brimstone project, where Brimstone project has been mentioned, where this is a project that had made repairs to the existing drainage system and also that has desilted various rivers and also drainage systems in order to have proper flow, and they have expanded the outflow channels. So this particular Brimstone project you can use as a case study in your environment and disaster management. Now, let's see what does it mean for the prelims and the mains point of view. Now, in the prelims point of view, what is important from this particular article is that you need to have basic knowledge on what is this project called Brimstone project. Along with you need to have knowledge on some of the other good practices like sponge cities. Okay, so this is what the main aim or what this project consists of. You need to know from the prelims point of view, and especially from the mains point of view, you need to link it with the challenges of urbanization, like what are the challenges that are being faced by the urban cities with respect to the climate change, and in case studies you can use the examples. Let's say, for example, the Sponge Cities project of China and Room for Rivers project of the Netherlands. You must focus upon these two projects very clearly, where in the Sponge Cities project of China, the main focus is on increasing the permeability of the pavements and the ground surfaces, wetlands, etc., where there is more regeneration of the groundwater along with reduction of the floods and the harmful effects of the floods. Now, in the Room for River projects of Netherlands, the main focus is on improving of the drainage system and increasing the flow. So, this is having the similar ideologies with respect to Brimstone project. So, this is what you need to understand from this particular article in the prelims and the mains point of view, especially the challenges that are being faced by the urbanization and the cities in India right now with regards to the climate change especially. Now, let's move on to next article. So, here in this particular article, it is mentioning about the defection. Here, you no need to go deeper into the politics of a country, but you need to have basic knowledge on anti-defection. Now, this concept has been origin in the year like around the 1960s, where the ideology of Ayaram and Gayaram has become most famous. But it took a concrete step in the year 1985 via 52nd Amendment Act by introduction of this particular anti-defection laws. According to this, there are three things. First and foremost thing is that when a member gets disqualified, when a member gets disqualified, the first and foremost thing is that with respect to members who are part of any particular party, they will get disqualified when they become part of another party. Also, when they vote against their particular party to the whip, then that person is said to be disqualified. And vendors, independent members becomes disqualified is that when the member contested in the elections as an independent, but after winning the election, if he joined in any political party, then he has been declared as disqualified. And with respect to nominated members, they need to join in any political party within the 6 months. So, they need to be part of any political party within 6 months. If they are not part of any political party within 6 months, then they are said to be disqualified. So, these are the three main disqualifications what you need to know about these anti-defection laws, and also origin and 52nd Amendment, and also these particular origin things. Now, according to these laws, who is the person or who is acting as a tribunal here is that Speaker of Lok Sabha. So his decision is final with respect to this particular issue of defection, whereas in 1992, Speaker's decision is also applicable to judicial review. Judicial review. So this is like, these are the basics what you need to mention about, and also in order to go into the deep, you need to have to knowledge on like merger conditions and also split conditions into detailed analysis of this particular article. Okay, so this is just from the prelims point of view. Now let's move on to next article. The next article here, it is mentioning about the impact of El Nino. It is mentioning about the impact of El Nino. So the first and foremost thing what has been you need to understand is that this is, let's say, Eastern Pacific Ocean. This is, let's say, Western Pacific Ocean. Now in El Nino, what happens is that warming of Eastern and Central Pacific happens. So automatically it leads to high rainfall with respect to Eastern Pacific in the countries especially like South America, around South America. Whereas with respect to Western Pacific, this receives low rainfall. Especially the highly impacted countries are like around Australia, India, like these are the countries which are highly impacted because of the El Nino, where there occurs decrease or low amount of the rainfall. Now, so before having basic knowledge on what is El Nino, let's get into the article that has been mentioning about here. So this article is highlighting about the impacts of El Nino which is causing, so the impacts of El Nino which is causing weak monsoon, which is impacting on the output or growth of the agricultural sector. This is what being discussed in this particular article, where it is mentioning about agriculture which contributes to 1/5 of India's gross value value. So in the GVA perspective, agriculture sector contributes only 1/5 of GVA, and it employs 46% of the workforce. So the contribution of the agriculture sector with respect to gross value addition is only 1/5, very low. But it is almost employing around 46. That is around 50% of the workforce in India are concentrated on the agriculture. Now, the thing is, in times of these El Nino, where it weakens the occurrence of the monsoon, it impacts heavily on the agricultural sector. Now, let's see how it is impacted. The first thing what it is mentioning is that it affects the agricultural output, reducing the contribution of the sector. Whereas it highlighted the some of the belts or the regions of high agriculture output, let's say in the regions of Punjab and Haryana, where they concentrate mostly on the agriculture output, reduction in the rice production, which is acting as a major hazard for a country like India, where India is standing as the one of the top producer in the production of rice. So this is the one issue that has been mentioned in this particular thing, and it is also mentioning about decline in the production or acreage use of the maize happens, and increase in the cropping of the pulses happen. So the main issue what it is being mentioned is that diversification of the crops is the one issue that has been highlighted in this particular article. Now, with this regard, due to reduction in the production of the rice, government needs to release the buffer capacity that it has been stored with it. So the buffer capacity must be released with respect to it, and along with that, it leads to increase in the cost of food prices causing inflation in the economy. Now, along with this, one more thing what has been highlighted is that in the eve of decrease in agriculture productivity, the main issue what happened is that automobile sales are being reduced. Let's say tractors, two-wheelers. So these are getting reduced. So this is what here the article is linking the geographical perspective of climate change, that is El Nino, with respect to economy and food, where it is linking with the decrease in the production of the crops and decrease in the automobile sales, where it is having impact on the economic growth and economic development of country. So this has been highlighted in this particular article. So in the prelims and mains point of view, what you need to learn, let's discuss that thing. So in the prelims point of view, you need to have basic knowledge on ENSO, where it is being divided into El Nino and La Nino. And you need to have basic knowledge on terminology or with respect to process of El Nino and its impact on India. And along with that, try to learn one more concept called Indian Ocean Dipole, which I have discussed 2 days back. Indian Ocean Dipole. So this is what you need to understand in the prelims point of view. And in the mains point of view, what you need to highlight is that the thing what it is mentioned, like 46% of employment and 1/5 of the contribution in the gross value added product. This you need to highlight along with impacts of El Nino. Here, the next article is also related to El Nino. Now, first let's have look at this. So, this is what you need to understand from this article in the prelims and the mains point of view. Now, here, the word which you should learn is drought proof. So, can India be a drought proof economy? So, in your conclusions, you can use the word called India must develop as drought proof economy by focusing on the different steps. So you need to conclude with the word called drought proof. Now let's get into the next article. So the next article here is also mentioning about the El Nino, where because of the impact of El Nino, there is weak monsoon that has been happening, weak monsoon. So this is causing decrease in the monsoon winds. So this decrease in monsoon winds is causing differences or reduction in the production of hydro and the wind power, where in the previous article we have seen impact of El Nino with respect to agricultural sector and also with respect to economy. Now here you can also link it with how it is being impacting the power sector. The power sector, where it is causing reduction in the production of hydro along with the wind power. This is what you need to understand from this particular article. Now let's get on to next article. So the next article here, it is mentioning about how the right to walk is integral to modernity. This is not that much important article with respect to prelims. This is an article where you can use as a case study or as an example in your mains point of view, where it is mentioning about right to walk. So, right to walk is a fundamental right under Article 19(1)(d), where freedom of movement, and it is also part of Article 21 under right to life. This is what being discussed in this particular article, where right to work is also a fundamental article. Here, the issue that is being concerned is that, so the issues that you need to highlight in the main point of view is that there is less importance or less respect to the people who are walking on the pavements and footpaths when compared to the people who are using the vehicles like cars. And there is a discrimination with respect to development of the urban areas, where urban areas are mostly developed and urbanization is happening in the form of expansion of the road lanes with respect to car owners and the heavy vehicles. So here one more thing what has been mentioned is that the safety of the woman, especially while walking on the pavements. So here, these are just the three things which you need to focus on this particular article, and this does not hold any particular significance majorly with respect to prelims point of view. So here, you need to highlight about these three issues, like how social discrimination is being happening with respect to persons who are walking on the pavements and footpaths. This is what you need to understand from this particular article. So these are all the important articles from today's Hindu newspaper, and you need to highlight and you need to understand each and every article in the prelims point of view and in the mains point of view. So this is for today's news analysis. If you like the video, please like, share, comment and subscribe to Vayu IAS Academy. Thank you.